Yeah, you heard that right. Our attempts to rent out our house in Iowa absolutely landed us in an FBI investigation. I'll give you the short version of the story. So, we hired a property management company to rent out our house for us since we were going to be traveling and not available to be landlords ourselves. After the property management company spent 4 months not touching our house, not listing it on their site for rent or anything. And I called angry at them. They finally listed it. 30 days after they listed it, they had an application for us. Said the guy's credit score was a little bit lower than what they would like, but he had no kids, no pets, and he was going to make a double payment for the deposit to stay for a year. So, would we be interested in still renting it out to him? At the time, we had already been sitting on this house paying for it for 5 months. So, of course, we said, all right, go ahead and rent it. 2 months after he moves in, we get a call from the FBI.
New tonight, a Waukee man accused in a wire fraud scheme is in custody. The FBI had been looking for William Berg. Investigators say he used his position as a financial advisor to defraud more than a dozen clients. They say he used more than $1.5 million of his clients' money for his own personal benefit. The FBI did not say how he was captured.
And turns out he also had already gotten evicted from his last place. But our property management company thought that this would be a great person to rent to. On top of it, the FBI basically ended up chasing him for over 2 months. They chased him down, found him in Kansas City, so he didn't make it very far from Iowa to Kansas City. But he basically abandoned all of his stuff in our house when he went on the run when the FBI found him. And then when they caught him, put him in jail, and we had to wait until he was actually in prison. And then we had to push the property management company to actually file for eviction and go through the full eviction process, which took almost 45 days to go through. Then the property management company had to move all of his stuff out of our house and told us they were going to pay for that since the situation was so difficult. But then turns out they didn't pay for shit. They took the $2,000 that it took to move all of his shit out of our house, out of the deposit. So after almost 8 months of this house either not being completely sitting empty or having a bad renter in it, we ended up paying money out of pocket for the whole situation. It was an absolute fucking nightmare. And if you're ever in Iowa and anybody from Iowa sees this, RPM Property Management Company is the worst company ever. They are the ones that put an actual criminal who had already been evicted from his last house, and they didn't run a background check, and they didn't actually thoroughly investigate this guy before they moved him into our property, and then they did nothing to help us afterwards. It was a goddamn nightmare, and we're still recovering for it. Sorry, I don't mean to get so emotional on TikTok, but it was a freaking nightmare. And I still, to this day, feel like there should have been more protection, or we should have been able to do more. And everywhere we turned, everybody was like, nope, you're just going to have to deal with it or pay for it. It was a nightmare. Never, ever again. I'm never owning a house again. I'm never renting a property again. I'm done.